crowd. I gotta cry for help. Man, the dog's perfect timing. Uh, here's my issue.
Hi, doggies.
I'm like a healthy eating guy. That's sort of been my identity for the past 15 years, and I don't really eat that healthy anymore. We've gotten busy, as I don't think we're unique in this. I think a lot of parents are like this. Okay, this is a problem.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
the mailman must be there.
Can we see
Hold on, I'm gonna shut
who's
this.
joined us? Doug, do you know?
Only if they comment, because it's on
Where's
YouTube.
they comment?
So it's not like
I
a
see.
webinar where they actually join in.
For doggies.
I don't like that. So we could be. It's like they're watching us, but we don't know that they're watching us. Okay.
Just accept it for what it is.
Matt, this is a total disaster.
Yeah,
right,
I don't have a. I see people are here. I don't have a comment thing today. Do you get that, Doug? Okay,
I see messages from the audience. Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah,
everyone.
I
If
just
you're
came into the
joining
dog
in
run. I don't
to
know what to
this,
This is the worst live ever. You got the
Goodness is we
dogs
can always
going.
edit it. Yeah, I mean it's just terrible. I'm gonna end it.
Should
And
we-
then we'll start again in a little bit.
thank
no,
you.
then we're gonna lose
Right.
the 8 people who are watching.
I can't hear you guys or me or anyone. I can't hear myself think.
Just go on mute, Matt. Take care of your dogs, and we'll hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
good.
mute yourself. We're gonna start the show. Mute
All right,
yourself.
here's the prompt. How do you eat when you're really busy? How do you stay healthy? Okay, discuss.
Be free.
Talk. It's like the teacher. It's like the teacher who says, like, talk amongst yourselves,
Talk,
right?
talk
Like,
amongst yourselves. Yeah.
I think
Form
we
a
should wait
small
for Matt
group.
to get back before you do that. But how's everybody doing? What's going on?
I mean, that was the
Great.
worst start of any podcast I think I've ever been on. By the way, did you guys listen to the
like it.
one with me and Matt? It got a little contentious. I feel bad. I woke up this morning, literally on my mind was offering Matt some way to reverse that conversation on our next conversation where we are talking about something that is embarrassing or unpleasant for me. Because the whole time, essentially, it was me telling him he shouldn't drink anymore and him having to come to terms with the fact that he drinks because he likes it, despite the science. And we might have gotten into some interesting science at the end there where, like, he pulled out one population study that suggested that, like, maybe the increase of risk was, like, 8 deaths over the course of 100,000 lives. So, like, maybe that doesn't matter. But, like, there seems to be so many mechanistic understandings around like how it shrinks your brain and messes up your white and gray matter, and it's bad for your heart and it's bad for HRV and it's bad for sleep, and it's like it's just so bad for you in all those ways that it contributes to 7 different cancers, right? Like there just seems to be a lot of reasons not to drink, and he just kept coming back to like but he likes it. So anyway, that's
I mean, there's
on my
something to
mind.
that, though, right? I mean, there's something to just doing things because you like them, even if they are somewhat detrimental to your health, right? And I haven't listened to the episode yet. I look forward to listening to it. It dropped this morning on the Outlier Health podcast feed. You can find that in anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. And I don't think that the video is going up, but that may be going up in the future. Or you can check out, if you're a member of the compliment community, you can go and check out your 3 things letter from you, Matt. Just going out, linking to the podcast.
Wonderful links in there. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah.
Welcome back, Matt.
Do you get everything together, Matt?
Not really. I can. There are little pauses between the barking that I can talk in, but I'm just going to keep myself on mute. I heard people talking about alcohol and the evidence that it's actually not that bad for us. That's all I really heard.
I was saying, Matt, that I woke up this morning thinking about you, as I do most days, and that next week I wanted to offer some topic of conversation that's like puts me on the defensive, because it felt like yesterday, you were in the unenviable position to defend alcohol, and here I was looking like a white knight talking about how I've learned to be intimate with people in my life without using a social lubricant, and how important those developments are. And then we just kept coming back to like, but Matt likes to have a couple glasses of wine here and there, and can't fault you for that. But anyway, we'll figure out something to reverse the tables next.
Don't bother. He puts me in the hot seat every week or every day almost on the morning show, and having to defend my heathen ways. So I think I think it's fine.
I thought, Matt, that I kind of felt bad for you this morning because I was thinking the poor guy had to resort to mechanistic things when he's all about health outcomes and long term stuff. And we said these mechanisms, like saying oatmeal's for full of phytates and lectins and we shouldn't have it. But if you look at the long term studies, everyone's fine. You became the mechanism guy. You're like, well, alcohol does this and this and this in your body and this, despite the fact that 4 additional people per 100,000 have an alcohol related problem in a year if they drink 1 drink a day. So
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, I don't know. For me, like it's helped me actually to maybe this could be a continuation. We can talk about alcohol with Doug and Isabel because I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And we're naturally arriving here. Like for me, my favorite example is like something Adriana says, which is if you woke up hungover and you didn't have the societal understanding that it's normal to be hungover after drinking, and you just woke up and you're like, you've got dry mouth, you're sweating, you didn't sleep, like you're maybe off balance, right? Like you're maybe nauseous, you can't eat, you could have vomited, right? Like you were poisoned, right? And if the night before you had a tofurkey sandwich, and then the next day you felt that way, you would say, oh my God, I should never eat that tofurkey sandwich again. Like that thing poisoned me. My body had a terrible reaction to it. That something's wrong with that. That I shouldn't do, right? And yet because of this like cultural familiarity with drinking, we're cool with it. We like wake up and we're like, God, I got seriously poisoned last night, but like hair of the dog, everybody, let's go get mimosas and I'll just kind of numb that pain with more alcohol. It's a wild thing to me. And that's not mechanistic. That is, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's a lethal dose of caffeine too. And if you drank enough of that, that'd be a poison. But people do it.
I don't think that's true. I've pushed that really hard.
Okay.
I don't know what that leads to.
Okay, a couple
is that
things.
True? Is that true?
Yeah, that was definitely true.
Well, it's the same thing as with water. You can drink too much water and you can get like water drunk,
Yeah.
but you have to drink a ridiculous amount of water to do that.
You actually don't have to drink that much water to mess up the it's an electrolyte imbalance, and you can actually not like the ions won't cross over some calcium barrier in your blood, and like there's a lot. I mean, you guys should know this. You're all ultra runners, like a few gallons of water on a hot day, and you can get messed up.
All right, I got three responses to your comment there, Matt.
Ready for this.
One is there's a difference between binge drinking and then just like drinking, right?
Or drinking and getting
if I was
drunk.
Waking up having puked every night, then the next day, like I mean that's not good.
Like Matt.
Yep, that's a typical day that I'd be good.
Not true.
The second one is that like you could say the same thing about a long run. I wake up the next morning and I have a headache and my body hurts and things like that, and I'm like, oh man, that feels terrible. Like, and it takes me a while to kind of get over it, right? But
Definitely then do it again.
But then I go and do it again. Yeah.
And it might actually be bad for you, right? That might be your body telling you it's bad for you, but it's not so bad that it's not worth doing, at least for you, right? It's something that is useful in advancing some sort of goal, which
I mean, it's an interesting point. I'll let you get to the third, Doug, because I wake up every morning and like the best outcome for me is I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I can't move because I worked out or I ran or I did whatever, to the extent where my body's like locked up, right? I'm like, yes, I did it. I worked so hard. I pushed my boundaries, but like we know that like we know a little bit about the lactic acid buildup and why our bodies, like our neurological system, our nervous system is sending those signals. Like we also know a little bit about why you feel that way when you're hungover, and those are demonstrably different, right? One is like a repair mechanism and like you're getting stronger. The other is not like a what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The other one might just be killing you.
Is
But you
get
had a
out of my
third.
body. Yeah.
You had a third, which I imagine is to tell us that there's a Moscow Mule in that cup of yours.
Well, I hope so.
No, it's green tea. But no, my third is that if a tofurkey sandwich gave me the amount of joy as a fun night out with my friends, then I would probably keep eating tofurkey sandwiches even if they made me feel terrible the next morning.
Could be a really good
that's
tofurkey
the
sandwich.
beautiful thing about alcohol sometimes. But I want to put a huge caveat here, and that's that I've really drastically reduced the amount of alcohol that I'm drinking, in part because I hate waking up. I mean, like even now, 2 beers on a Thursday night makes me feel terrible on a Friday morning, and so I mean, I'm just like
That's Doug right now.
no,
Yeah.
no. See, no, look. This is a perfect example. Last night, went out and watched the game with some friends. I had a beer, and then I bought a hop water, which is a non-alcoholic beer, because I knew that second one would make me groggy this morning, and I didn't want to deal with that. And it was fine. It was great.
There you go.
But see, this is interesting. I want Isabel to go, but then I want to come back to Doug, and I want to understand what's the point of drinking one beer, and what's the point of drinking non-alcoholic? I just don't get it.
Taste.
Well, so the non-alcoholic is not a beer; it's a hop water. It's like a I mean, it's just like a sparkling water, but that has a hop taste to it. And I enjoy the taste of hops, and I also enjoy the taste of beer. And also, one beer at 6%, 6.5% alcohol does provide some sort of relaxation effect that's nice and enjoyable.
And looks cool.
A
Makes you
buzz.
fit in.
And looks cool.
The buzz. You like the buzz.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a full buzz, but yeah. I mean, it's like
A relaxation.
It's a high.
It's a lubricant.
a lubricant. Yeah.
It's a high.
It's a drug.
I'm just saying, right? It's a drug. It's
Yeah,
a high.
yeah,
You like the
yeah.
buzz. You like the feeling.
So is caffeine,
I just
though. People
wanna-
do that too. It's
So is
that's
caffeine.
high.
Yeah.
That's true. So is sugar.
Don't take my caffeine. It's the last. It's my last thing.
And so
Isabel.
all those mushroom concoctions that
Yeah.
that you play with.
Oh, we have to define. We're talking about like the Rishi,
mushroom coffee.
ashwagandas.
The
right?
mushroom drugs that you take. No, no, I'm just kidding.
That's next week's episode because we'll have some truth telling. I'm interested. I'm very interested, but I'm so terrified. I've never done any mushroom type drug, any hallucinogen, any of that stuff. And now you look at like Michael Pollan's book, the Netflix special that they did, How to Change Your Mind, like all of those, psychoactive substances that are unlocking like the stuff for PTSD, like veterans and rape victims and trauma. Like it's just, there's some incredible
fascinating.
science out there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm really interested, but I am so terrified that like I don't think I could get there.
Next company outing, we all do it all together or none at all. I mean, just
I'll consider it. Put it under consideration. I don't have much to add to the alcohol conversation because I have been sober for 7 years, I think, and my husband has for like 10, 12, because he has a blood condition that doesn't allow him to have alcohol. So it's just not a part of our lifestyle. But I do like non-alcoholic wine, and there's like the ones, I don't remember the brand names, but they make alcohol removed wine, and it's for the taste. Like it's basically just a sugar drink that I'm having, but it tastes good. It tastes like wine. And I do think that is a piece of it. It's the same thing as dessert. Like I know a piece of chocolate cake or a chocolate brownie or whatever. Notice the chocolate. I know that's not good for me. It's sugar, and it's probably boosting my system in a way that it shouldn't do. But I like the taste, and I like dessert. So there is an aspect of that to your life where you should have pleasure in your life from different things, and a nice beverage that tastes good. I respect.
I didn't know you were sober. I mean, I just assumed because like since we've been working together, like the last 3 or 4 years, whatever it's been, you've been pregnant or nursing. So I just kind of assumed like Adriana, she's been sober for like 6 years as a result, but like isn't quote. But that if you add you and what I'll call myself essentially sober, we're like 40 or 50% of our entire company is now. So there's a
I
trend
think that's
here.
not atypical. I think there's a lot of people now who just don't drink, like for all various reasons. They're just not interested in it.
Yeah, I mean,
and a
that's
lot
what
of
we
it
got
is-
into yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there are people who are sober because they, have alcoholic tendencies or are an alcoholic, and choosing, going sober is kind of the only way that they can handle that. but I'm meeting a lot of people who just kind of quit drinking and then just decided not to start drinking, and like.
Yeah, I know someone who's done like that 75 hard challenge. I just talked to her the other day, and she said, "Yeah, it might just not go back to it because it's been 45 days without alcohol." I'm like, "Wow, this is amazing." Yeah. So
Matt O'Connor is a fan of the NA beer. Lots of options available these days that taste good. It tastes as good as the real deal, and I don't know if I'd quite go that far. I don't know if I completely agree with you there, Matt, but there are some very good non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah, I think
But
they
your
do taste as
impression-
good. They just don't taste like they have alcohol in them, and I think that's the point. I think that's
because they don't.
Yeah, right. And I think that is, as much as we try to deny that that's the point, I think it is. If you detect that it's not there, you think, why am I drinking this? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be curious to know how long the NA beer movement lasts. It's certainly booming right now. But I just
think
I
it's
kind of
only
went through that, and then I kind of just lost interest. So I don't know if other people will be the same way or not.
Mhm.
We will see.
I watched the you guys what's his name? Johan Harari. He's big into the addiction recovery and kind of happiness researcher, professor maybe. And I just watched his TED talk someone sent me. The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. And his whole point is like the loneliness epidemic and the way we treat addicts and as like criminals, as opposed to putting them in a situation where they have connection, right? That they have purpose and meaning and relationships that support them. And I don't know. I'm like I say, I'm not an evangelist. I'm not giving up alcohol for the rest of my life. That's why I call myself essentially sober, because there'll be a wedding, New Year's, some sort of family event where, I don't think it's a big deal, but I think there's a lot to what's going on in this country over the last and maybe broader over the last 100 years, and the reckoning with social media and access to these drugs and loneliness and happiness, and we'll see. See.
All right, you want to talk about food? How to eat healthy when you don't have time? Let's do it. I mean, it doesn't need to be that long of a discussion anyway. But as I said, we just got so busy with the kids that we don't have family dinners anymore. We have one night a week when everyone's actually home for dinner, and then we have a couple nights a week, maybe one, where someone is home to cook the dinner during the normal cooking times. So we just don't have that. That just disappeared from our life, and we eat a lot of pasta with jarred sauce, or a pizza with a store-bought crust, and again, usually just jarred sauce. And it's just so different from how we used to cook and eat. We used to eat these nutrient-rich bowls and things where every bite just seemed like it was just nourishing your body. Now I feel like I'm eating I don't know, a normal person. It's okay. It's not the worst food you can eat by any means, but I don't feel like I can just keep eating it and I'll just be limitlessly healthy the more I do. So anyway, and plus, which is fine for me. I can deal with that. But the kids, I don't know. I want them to be healthy. So I don't know. I'm just curious if people have tips. If you guys are in this, everyone here is parents. If you have any of a similar struggle or have somehow avoided that, or if you got any hacks for me, one weird trick would be great. Anything you got?
I will say lately, my kids are younger, so I don't have quite the same problem of being gone for dinner time. Most of the time our whole family is together for dinner. But I can see how that is difficult. And I know meal prepping on the weekends is probably a good solution, but that takes time. One hack that I have been doing lately is the good old Midwestern vegetable on the side. So whatever I make, and I used to do this all the time when it was just me. I used to put every meal on a bed of spinach, all the time, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I was eating, just put it right on top of spinach. Probably gross for some people, but it worked great. But now, yeah, I keep frozen vegetables because that's what works up for us. We can't go to the store all the time. And I do frozen broccoli, green beans, cauliflower, whatever is around, whenever I have corn. And I do a vegetable on the side for every meal. And then I know at least that there's that piece that's getting in. So if I'm making pasta, it's not just pasta with sauce. It's pasta with sauce and broccoli or green beans. And that really helps for me. And then also I chuck like tofu or tempeh into as much as I can when it's a base meal like you're talking about, pizza, pasta, a rice bowl, something super simple. I try to get some other elements in there if I can that I know will provide some good nutrients to my family. So that's my
You
hack.
mentioned two things there that we actually sometimes do. I'd say often is steamed broccoli is our vegetable on the side. It's just we can chop it up quickly and steam it. I don't like that we're always eating the same vegetable, but at least it's a cruciferous vegetable. I feel kind of good about that. And then we do the air fryer tofu a good bit because there's no pan, there's no standing at it. It's a simple thing. You put it in there and then it's done 15 minutes later. And then that can go into whatever the meal is. And I feel like that's to me is still a health food. It's like beans, not quite as healthy as whole beans, but very good food. So, but yeah, I think I do like that idea. Like we should have a rule that says we always are going to do a vegetable on the side. Like that's not a bad policy to have.
Yeah, I think for us, you joke about this a lot, Matt, and make fun of me for it, but it's what works. Is we pretty much eat like the same 5 meals all the time. I mean, every single week there's some variation of this.
You're counting tacos, burritos, enchiladas. These are each a separate meal.
I mean, there's maybe like 2 Mexican inspired nights, right? Like a burrito and a taco, or a burrito and a burrito. But then there's like the stir fry, and then there's the like something similar to a lenteroni, and that's, I mean, we do that every single week, and it's a little bit boring, but all of the meals take no more than 20 minutes to cook, 25 max, and they're all bean based, like whole bean or lentil based, and no one ever has to think about it. Like we buy the same foods, like obviously sometimes we mix in other stuff, but like we don't have to worry too much about stressing over a grocery list. And so then we're not scrambling to get something because we're missing this one ingredient for this recipe that we wanted to cook and wasting time doing that. And we know that the kids will eat them because they like those foods.
How far ahead do you plan it? Do you have the weekly template set that says enchiladas this day, burrito this day?
No, definitely not. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to be out tonight, or I'm going to work late tonight, or whatever. We fix something, and then whoever is cooking that night just does whatever feels inspiring to them. But it is boring for sure. And we'll usually have at least one new recipe in there for that one night that we do want to kind of like do something big and branch out. But they're all healthy food. They're all mostly whole food based, and super simple.
And there's a bunch of people here live, by the way. If you have a tip, healthy eating hack, please share it so we can all benefit from it while we're talking. You don't worry about interrupting us, whatever. Just put it in there.
I think we have to separate out healthy eating for yourself versus healthy eating for your family. My go-to hack for healthy eating when you don't have time is to not eat.
No, it's not.
My go-to is
fasting.
Yeah, like if I'm traveling,
it's usually a good idea.
If I'm traveling,
not
like,
for your children.
It's different there. They probably choose it in some days.
They do.
I was so proud of it last night. So if I'm traveling, like I just don't eat, because inevitably you'll end up eating, packaged foods or foods bought in an airport. There's only 2 options to get through TSA. So it's like you're eating a bar of some sort, or you're eating whatever you can
trail
take
mix
with you. I'm just not the guy who's going to fill up Tupperware with roasted vegetables to get through TSA. Like I've done it in the past of all sorts, and it explodes in your bag, and your wife gets pissed. So I just don't eat if we're traveling. There
has to be middle ground, right? I mean, like some nuts and fruit.
Fruits and nuts. Fruits and nuts.
Yeah, but it's actually harder for me. And I was about to say that, like, if I have to, like, you can always find cashews or something, or almonds at like a store at the airport. But, they're usually roasted, salted, right? Like, not organic, bottom of the barrel as far as nut quality goes. And I just would rather not. And yes, you could bring a piece of fruit through, but like, when you really think about it, you're talking about 2 hours pre-flight, X number of hours on the flight, some hours after the flight. Like, is that fruit going to really carry you through that? Like, for me, I'd rather just choose that to be the day that I'm going to fast and then not have to worry about it. Because if I have one piece of fruit, I will actually be hungrier and I don't get any of the benefits of fasting or, time restricted eating. I'd rather just not eat. And that's obviously an extreme, like the don't have time and don't have access to food in an airport. That's my number one. Number
I do eat
two.
less because like when we have, like I was saying, like it's not like every bite feels like it's nourishing. So as a result, I end up eating less food. So it kind of is a strategy. And I'm not talking about fasting. But now and then I'll be totally fine with skipping breakfast or whatever, or even skipping lunch sometimes if we don't have anything left over from dinner that was good or healthy. Sometimes it just feels healthier not to eat it. So yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, for the kids, that doesn't obviously work.
Yeah.
And the nuts and fruit, I mean, that's good for snacks too.
Last night, there's a nice vegan child eating a roasted portobello. There's a salad. He's eating a bowl of lentils and beans. There's a soup, which had lentils, beans, a bunch of other good stuff. Caesar salad and edamame. And I thought to myself, like, I don't know if raising your kid plant-based is a good idea or not. That's for every individual to decide. We've done it, and let me tell you, like, their palate is like so diverse. It is amazing to me. I think that is probably the best decision we've made. I look at like our cousins, and it's like, I mean, it's crazy what people feed their kids in this country. And I think if you just start off at the base of like vegetables, they get used to just eating straight vegetables. It's an amazing thing. So, anyway, back to if you don't have time.
That I need more courses, that I need like a soup and a salad and different things for when I'm really busy.
It's not, well, no, but that's a great point. That was a pot of soup that was made on Sunday, and we're still nursing it because I think we had it like on Sunday or maybe it was Monday, and then like had it for lunch. Some of the kids yesterday, Wednesday, and then like the rest of the family ate it, but it wasn't enough to carry us through. So maybe this is batching, and leftovers are huge. The salad took maybe 3 seconds to cut up, romaine lettuce and throw some, vegan Caesar dressing on it. The edamame were frozen, to Isabel's point. So literally just put in a pan to heat it up sufficiently. And what was the third thing? And then the roasted portobellos, again, just sliced them up, threw some oil on it, put it in the oven, and 20 minutes later, those were super crunchy and salty, and the kids loved them. So, I mean, that's actually like a great example. And what I was getting at is like, we didn't spend any time on meal prep. It was like leftovers, a salad, random portobellos, because like, what else are you going to do with them? And some frozen edamames. And it's pretty, high protein, lots of micronutrients. I feel good about that dinner. So I think leftovers, frozen fruit, frozen food, and not being too formal about like, you need a main and a salad and this and like side, like just put it all out there. And if you got kids, they'll eat what they want.
Yeah, I think that's the big point. Is like it doesn't have to look like a normal meal, like a recipe or here's the protein, here's the carbohydrate, here's the vegetable, but just like a bunch of vegetables, if that's what it is, that can be a pretty healthy dinner. I don't know about every day, like with the kids. I feel like I don't know, like I want to know that it's a little bit more substantial maybe than a lot of vegetables. But yeah, I get the point.
That was a bowl of lentils. Two types of beans. There's red lentils, red kidney beans, garbanzos. There's sun-dried tomatoes in there, and like maybe a couple other things, and potatoes all in that soup. So it was like a super hearty stew, and with like 3 different types of beans and legumes, and then again the portobello, the salad, and the edamame. Like I felt good about that. Shitting on my.
I see.
You should.
I got a question for you.
About that.
Language, gentlemen.
Do we not do language on? Yeah,
we don't.
You can say that
we're a family-friendly podcast here.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is that for the audience or for you too?
I think it gets marked as clean so that more people listen to it, and then people complain when anyone drops any sort of bomb on it.
All right, boys.
Okay.
All right, Doug, go.
Noted.
Fraser, I got a question for you. Like,
Yeah.
how? I mean, and I don't mean this sarcastically. I mean this. Like, how bad is it really? Like, if you find a somewhat healthy jarred sauce, if you find some good whole wheat pasta or bonza pasta or something like that, and then like a can of beans, like what's wrong with that? I guess as a meal, it might not look
Let
like
me
the meals that you were cooking before, but like if that's your simple meal, and I think a lot of people would rely on that instead of having edamame and a salad and 5 different courses. Like, I mean, like what's so bad about that?
Yeah.
let me jump in first because you're talking to Matt, who, in his peasant cooking days would squeeze the tomatoes himself to create the sauce, right? Anything
Right.
less than
I got a
that.
food meal just for that purpose, actually.
But just for what it's worth, because Doug, once again, it wasn't a 5-course meal. It was a haphazard.
I
throw
know.
everything
We're
in
fine
there.
with your
Enough about
meal.
this meal.
And we
gotta move on to something else.
we are go-to for us. Cheesy pasta is our go-to, but I will often, and I know some people will say you shouldn't try to sneak veggies with kids, and we don't, but like throwing some red peppers and some other stuff into a jarred sauce and blending it all up, like carrots, red
onions.
peppers. Yeah, you can get like 8 different veggies, throw it in the blender with the jarred sauce. So fresh veggies all mixed up, chunky or not. Pour that over your pasta, and you can get a whole bang of micronutrients to quote beef up the jarred sauce that everyone is maligning. All right, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, no, I actually don't think it's that bad. That's why at the beginning I said, like, this is not a bad way to eat. It's just not what we're used to. It's not, I wouldn't consider it like super healthy. It's okay. It's passable. It works. I just don't like it week after week. And that's what we've kind of come to, because this is, it's been 2 years now that we're like this, where the kids are just constantly busy. And so I don't know. I just feel like my dinner time is not really the time for me to get much nutrition. And yeah, the meal you mentioned like would be okay, but like that would be missing a vegetable. So you got to figure out a vegetable on the side.
Sure.
The jarred sauce might have something in it, or you could add it like they just said. So that's not a bad idea. Another idea that I just came up with recently was like maybe dinner time is just not the time for us to get the nutrients. Like it used to be like the traditional like biggest meal, and therefore maybe chance to get the most vegetables and things. But like if we have more time for lunch or breakfast, which we certainly do, like maybe we should just go back to the big nutrient bomb smoothie, which I got away from as we started to just say like, let's just eat more normal foods all the time. But like maybe I should start focusing on that for everyone and like making sure we get the nutrition we're not getting at dinner into the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I mean, and even if your kids are going to school or something like that, I mean, you can. I mean, my kid's lunch looks a lot like that 5-course dinner that Matt Tolman cooked up. I mean, it's just like a whole bunch of random, like little small vegetable things and a little bean salad, and like, and they eat that, and they eat a whole bunch. I mean, it's a whole bunch of good, healthy food, and that's like if that was a big source of a lot of their vegetables throughout the day, and we didn't have time to do something at dinner, like at least I knew that they got all that during lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think the smoothie is a good tactic. And I do that especially like with my daughter to know. And I just like chuck in as much good stuff as I can. I have a hard time though with smoothies in the wintertime. So if anybody has like a warm, because like I just don't want smoothies when it's cold out.
Mm-hmm.
But like that is a good tactic that I take.
I know Matt Tolman puts a bunch of vegetables in a smoothie for himself, but like my kids probably wouldn't eat like a brown or drink like a brown green smoothie. Right, their smoothies tend to be mostly fruit and some protein powder and nuts and seeds and stuff like that. I mean, they're healthy, but they're it doesn't have like 5 servings of vegetables in there.
But you can get spinach or some other things in there. Even like baby kale, like, it doesn't taste like much of it. You can get a little bit in, but you're right. It's like I wouldn't. It'd be hard to do. The big. That's what actually got me to stop drinking smoothies. Was I went through that phase where you did, it was brown and gross, and like I just got sick of smoothies after that. I don't know. Just got beans, yeah. I'm not putting beans.
Yeah, I mean You have to be careful because I've often served my kids smoothie. They don't trust me as much now when it comes to smoothies. Like they have to explicitly say they want a smoothie that tastes good, which I take kind of as an insult. But yeah, you have to lean more heavily on the fruits than maybe on the cruciferous vegetables. But if you do it right, like there's no, I mean, unless they have oatmeal in the morning, there's no other path to getting them hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, which are always go in there. Like Isabel said, you can even throw some white beans in there of some sort, and then get some spinach, and like you can still create a very tasty smoothie, especially if you add some complement chocolate protein in there, and get in some like good nutrients without making it totally undrinkable.
That's a good segue to supplements because, of course, all of us work for / some of us founded Complement Outlier Health, which is what this podcast is named, is the parent company of Complement. LoveComplement.com. We usually start the Plant-Based Morning Show by reminding people of that sponsorship, that association. But we do make a product there that is meant to be, to go along with the vegan diet, to fill in the nutrient gaps. Should my family, though, in this phase, should we be normies and start taking the regular old Centrum multivitamins, so we can get the vitamin C and E and things that we, might not be getting now?
Probably. It sounds like your diet's shit.
Language.
Come
Language.
Do your kids have fruit?
Yeah, they eat fruit all the time.
Okay.
We eat lots.
I mean, that's another hack that I was going to mention is like just keep frozen fruit around the house all the time. I also have carrots all the time, and like that's my deal with my oldest is that like if she doesn't want to eat dinner, and like I don't think she's gotten much throughout the day, I'm like, okay, you don't have to have dinner, but if you're hungry, you can have a banana or carrots, and like that's the deal. And then normally she eats some of her dinner, and that's kind of how I do it. But keeping whole fruits around, like that's always super easy to just go in the fridge, grab something, grab a banana, grab some carrots. Easy peasy.
The flip side of that, and the reason that I'm actually not too concerned about this issue of ours, is that if you just don't keep junk food around, like, you can't really go that wrong. Like, I feel like, yes, we're not eating all these fresh fruits and veggies and things like we used to, but we're also not eating, potato chips and stuff. Now, the family eats some pretzels more than I like.
Pretzels.
Pretzels are a problem. But other than that, there's nothing really else to have besides fruit and nuts or whatever if it's in between mealtime. So it's not like, anyone's binging on anything except for alcohol and me. That's the one.
Great.
Corn chips.
No, we shouldn't talk about binging on alcohol. I was
No, we should.
no jokes.
Yeah, but given your high degrees of drinking, you probably should take a multivitamin. That's true. No, I'm with Isabel.
1 to 2
Fresh
drinks
food
per
is
night.
the ultimate.
That's my number. And the past week I've had none for sleep purposes, and it's been great. I've slept fantastic.
There you go.
This is what I'm saying.
But yeah, I know you're right. To go back to alcohol one more time here. I was saying the thing about only this small amount of people actually has alcohol-related problems during the course of a year, and it is a small number. But what counts as a problem? Like, does not sleeping well, or you're a little sluggish in the morning, your energy's lacking, you don't have the same motivation and zest for life. Like these are real impacts of alcohol. I am not denying that at all. They certainly can be, and I don't think they get reported as problems. So to argue against myself,
what exactly defines a problem too? Like what is
this? Was like health problems, and there were 23 of them. They were listed in the in these group of studies. It was a big meta-analysis.
I want to get deeper into that though. I'm I don't want to take us off, but Isabel, that is my go-to. Like, fruit is the ultimate fast food, and like our kids can have as much fruit whenever they want, as much as they want, and sometimes they ask, for dessert or whatever, and it's like, yeah, what do you want? Here's all the fruit we have, and obviously from a micronutrient standpoint, yeah, exactly. But then they like choose grapes. I'm like, all right, we're not buying grapes anymore.
Nobody carts out like a dessert tray with like 5 different platters or courses of fruits that have been prepared for them.
That's probably what happens.
I mean, do you guys use placemats? Placemats. Do you set the table with placemats?
We don't have placemats. You guys have placemats?
No, we don't use placemats anymore.
It's mostly to keep the table from getting really dirty. Placemats.
So I studied abroad.
Adrian,
in
this is
high
so
school.
formal.
Are we gonna diss on placemats? That's what I remember.
No, nothing wrong with placemats. In high school, I studied abroad in Costa Rica, and I was living with the host family for 6 months. And I got so bad, every meal had rice and beans, and it was like this plate that didn't have walls or anything like that. And I was so bad at eating the rice and beans that it got so messy that they had to buy a placemat for me because they were tired of cleaning up all the rice and beans every day. For like 3 meals a day. I just kept making a huge mess.
And that's why you love those pasta bowl things now, right?
That's why every meal I eat out of a pasta bowl.
Doug raved about pasta bowls one day so much that my mom sent me 4 of them, thinking you guys have to have these. Doug said how amazing these are, and we got them. And they're like it's a regular plate. It's just a bowl. Like nothing. My food doesn't get to
What
the
did you
walls.
expect? I mean, of course they're just regular plates, but they have walls on them, so things don't get
I
messy.
was gonna say, what is a pasta bowl?
It's a plate with walls.
It's just
It's all.
It's like a big. It's in between a bowl and a plate.
It's not even. It's a flat plate, and it has a border.
It has like a little lip
food
on
in.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, like a rounded lip, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can someone share?
Sounds like a
can
plate.
someone share this? Yeah, I was about to say. Is it a plate or a bowl? Because I got pasta bowls.
It's a plate.
I got pasta bowls. It's
a
like
bowl.
yeah, it's like that, right? It's a big, it's a big ass bowl,
Cup.
but it's not like a deep bowl. It's like a large bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
This isn't that.
It's
This
a
is not-
high diameter. It's a larger than usual
No, that's a bowl.
diameter.
I'm gonna put the
I
link.
googled it. That's a bowl. It's just a regular bowl.
No, you found the wrong thing.
It's like
I'm
a
gonna
bowl
show
like
you
this.
No endorsement to whatever bowl manufacturer. Share the link. This is important.
I am right now.
Doug, you're kind of like Michael with his apron.
Yeah.
You need a placemat because
The placemat.
you know
Mm-hmm.
the two of you can get together.
Link is in the chat. These are the ones that were pictured on the morning show when Doug said, "Oh yeah, we have pasta bowls. They're great." And these are the very ones my mom sent.
Huh?
Flat
plate.
How
pasta.
do I?
They're plates with.
Flat pasta.
You can't click the link
Yeah.
for us.
Oh, you guys
Okay.
can't do that.
Copy paste.
It's a bowl for everyone.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh no, that's not a.
No,
that's
it's
not
a-
a bowl.
It's a plate. It's a plate with
Oh,
walls. All right. It doesn't matter.
But what's the point?
Anyone listening to this
It
can
feels-
The rare person
feels like
who
it's a
food
pla-
goes off their plate when they eat because they're so messy with eating. I guess it would say
It feels like it's a plate that wants to be a bowl. Really.
It's
Okay.
perfect for pasta. It's a pasta bowl.
We should all probably talk about how
I
to
use
keep
plates
this
for
conversation
pasta.
more focused. Just thrown out there.
All right. Well, no
All
one.
right, any
no one
other
gave any
hacks
tips.
for when you don't have time?
Nobody gave us hacks from the
Yeah,
crowd.
Dale,
Dale Stevens
any-
showed up late.
any-
Said TGIF. Good to see Dale Stevens, morning show regular. Always comments. Great to see you, Dale. Healthy eating tips. We still chance when you don't have time. But yeah, I think we're just about done. I think we've exhausted them. We also make a pot of beans at the beginning of every week for the most part, and have that, and it's good for all kinds of things. So,
Oh,
Is that
I
'cause you
have-
wanna
I have
eat
another
canned
good one.
beans?
okay, what do you got?
When you're cooking something that's like a staple recipe, super easy to do for me, like a chili or a pasta or something, just make more and then either keep it for another meal in the week or put it in the freezer. I do that every time I make chili. I make a huge thing of chili so that I can get like at least 2 or 3 meals out of it. Chili also always fabulous.
It's a great tip. It's a fantastic tip. We should. I mean, we really should like sit down and come up with 5 meals and only have meals that are like that. Where then every time we cook, we can make 3 batches, and life would be easier.
That's our go-to. If I didn't make that clear with the soup that we've been nursing
right.
since Sunday, like we make a pasta that's like 4 or 5 containers. Now, granted, we have a very large house full of people, but like we'll only eat half of that, and then it'll be lunches for kids, and maybe a dinner the next day or so.
It's a good one.
Yep.
Sundays is your soup day. It's always Sunday.
Anybody want to take Dale's comment and run with it? Because
No, we're gonna leave
we haven't
that
said anything
alone.
that's going to get us canceled today. Much. We might have
Lots of
insulted some
language.
people with alcoholism.
All right, well, Matt O'Connor likes
yeah.
Isabel's tip for the freezing of things. Aaron Jenkins says quitting drinking is the best thing I've ever done for myself. 8 years now. Tough to get over the cultural, social stuff, but having lots of fun now and remembering all the fun. Yeah, I mean, the cultural, social thing, that's probably the big one. It's just like whenever I would stop drinking for an extended amount, that's what will kind of like just make me say, why not? I'm with people, we're out.
Sparkling water is the great friend of all sober people.
I've heard that. I've heard sparkling water with a lime in it or something, and it just sort of no one sort of.
Yeah, it looks like a
It's weird that we have to
tonic.
trick people into thinking we're drinking though. It's so strange.
Well, it just gives you something to have, so that like you don't feel like you're the one that doesn't have a drink.
Yeah. Can you like bring a Rubik's cube or something? I don't know. Do something.
It's not exactly the
Yeah.
same.
That weird
But
sober
okay.
girl in the corner with the Rubik's cube.
I have another good hack. I keep thinking of them.
Good. Please keep it
I-
coming.
The worst
I-
tip I've ever heard.
I will carry a Rubik's cube from now on. I use dry beans only because
Yeah, there you
bag
go.
dry beans. Don't use canned beans. If you're gonna make some dry beans for a recipe or something, just make the entire bag and then again put it in the freezer. And then you have some. Then you always have beans in the freezer. So every time I make dry beans, I always make the entire bag of the beans and then throw the rest in the freezer.
Let me make sure I understand properly. So your hack for saving time is to basically spend a lot of time making something that you can just buy already.
Yeah, it
like
takes so
that
long to make beans.
in the
It
can.
doesn't. It doesn't.
Into the
You
bowl.
throw it in a bowl. It's so
It's
easy.
worse. It's worse
No,
than
because
what
then
Doug
I don't
said,
have to.
actually.
No, I don't have to get. I don't have to rinse the beans.
Not only-
get
not
all the
only do you
salt
have
out.
to-
I'm with you on your side as well.
You have to
Only
cook the
thank you.
beans, then you freeze the beans,
you
and
freeze the
once
beans.
frozen, you have to recook the
Yeah,
beans
yeah.
again.
Uh-huh.
No, you just take
As
it out.
opposed to just
Or you can just get a
opening.
can.
Yeah, but
What's
No.
what's
Make-
wrong with a can?
Bro.
if you make the pot of beans, not only are they delicious, you also then have this huge bowl of beans that's in your fridge for the whole week. And you every time you open the fridge, it's like there's this urgency. We got to get these beans finished. We're not going to open cans that much and drain and rinse and all that.
Well, you don't have to
Sounds
worry about
stressful.
like
we have,
the added
we have to
salt
get rid of
goes
the
away.
beans, everybody.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
smell
There's
terrible when they go bad.
urgency. Urgency.
So how often do you
It's
let
so
the beans
easy.
go bad? We threw out a group the other.
Beans, they can go bad. I
Group.
will,
and it
I will,
smells terrible.
I will
It-
tell,
like-
tell a story. Don't leave the beans in your fridge for like 2 weeks because they will go bad. You will try one chickpea and then you will get food poisoning from that chickpea and puke all night long. I know
Ooh,
this
I don't
from
know how you
experience.
would
Now so now you're talking about
Put it in
mortal
the freezer.
danger. There's mortal danger.
No, put it in the freezer.
There's urgency and stress related to finishing the beans in time.
Put it in the
There's
freezer.
extra work. Someone explain to me why this is all worth it.
It sounds like you're just mad you're not in Rancho Gordo Bean Club, that you didn't get a membership. And you're on the
True.
wait list.
One, I will say it is more cost effective because you can buy a bag of beans for like $1.15.
Way more cost effective.
Yeah, and that's like the equivalent of like 4 cans, so more cost effective. It takes no time. You put it in a bowl, put some water on it, leave it, and then you dump out the water, put the beans in the crock pot, cook them up, or put them on
Tastes
the
way
oven.
better.
Cook it all
Tastes
day.
better.
I
No
think-
salt, no BPA in the cans, because we don't have a can. So it's just better.
It
Well,
is.
you're probably buying no BPA or BPS cans anyway, but whatever chemical they used instead of BPA or BPS is probably concerning. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Unfortunate how my
What
brain
about all the
works.
plastic leaching out of the bag that you're
Minimal.
not, I'm making a
saying
stretch here.
minimal.
All right. I think
Not
we've hit
sensitive.
our wall.
Well, I think we need merge. That's like team dry beans versus like team canned beans.
All right,
There
next
seems
company
to
outing.
be-
We do that and the
Done.
mushroom.
That one I will actually make.
That's
the
that is
mushrooms.
mushrooms. yeah, perfect.
All right. Everyone, thank you for bearing with us. If you made it this long, a good live attendance today. Our best live attendance on No Meat Athlete Radio live. So thanks everyone for coming out. Thank you for the comments. Yeah, a little rough start today, but I like where we ended up.
It was a day. It's okay.
All right. We'll be back. Keep tuning into that Outlier Health podcast. You'll get this in plant-based morning shows and the Outlier Health podcast itself and much more, maybe one day.
Much more.